which offensive line is going to give one of these young signal callers an opportunity to do what they've been doing all season long.
We will hear from Erin Andrews after the kick. It's the first matchup between #1 scoring offenses since 1970. So you've got two teams coming in averaging just over 30 points per game. And the top two picks from the draft a year ago, Jared Goff, then Carson Wentz. 10-2 taking on 9-3. Glad you're with us today on Fox. Carson Wentz will start at the 25. Half of that matchup between the two good young quarterbacks. For more on both of them, here's Erin Andrews.
Joe, these two quarterbacks linked even before the draft. They signed with the same agency. They trained out here in California to get set for the combine and the draft. That's where they became friends. And of course, they went 1-2 in 2016. Both admit this is fun to have this kind of connection, but they said, you know, all this much hype matchup today, they did send a text to one another and say, I am so sick of talking about our friendship. Let's play this game.
Well, we're going to right now from the 25. Couple of fakes and then a flip to Brown. Torrey Smith around the edge, and Torrey after the fake handoff, and then Torrey coming around on the snap from his wide receiver position gains 1. Carson Wentz already the 4th most touchdown passes in team history. With his 29, leads the league. He's got 6 picks. And he's been the #1 third down quarterback in the NFL this year. 2nd and 9. Handoff is to Blunt. And LeGarrette Blunt is knocked down just shy of the 30, a gain of 4, so a 3rd and 5 coming up.
Hey, we heard Aaron's report saying, hey, they're tired of talking about each other. Let's get this game underway. They better get used to that. These two are joined at the hip for the rest of their careers, much like Elway and Marino and Bird and Magic. And how enjoyable it has been to see in their 2nd season, both of them take the strides that they have and play so well.
3rd down and 5. Wentz sets up, fires, pass is picked. Off the hands of Aguilar and into the waiting arms of Kayvon Webster. It's hard to believe, Troy, that is the 6th takeaway on the opening drive this season by the Rams defense. That leads the league.
Great way to start for this Rams defense. That's what they've been so good at all season long. Very opportunistic with the takeaways, the first 3rd down. And Wade Phillips dials it up, and they get the deflection. And a great job setting this offense up with outstanding field position.
Well, we'll get into the defense for the Rams, which is coordinated by Wade Phillips. He had Kayvon Webster in his time with the Denver Broncos, and Webster gets the early takeaway on the deflection off the hands of Nelson Aguilar, and now we get Jared Goff. So the Rams won the toss, they deferred. They'll get the ball at the start of the 2nd half, and they come away on a 3rd and 5 with a quick interception. The #4 offense in the league. What a turnaround for Jared Goff after going 0-7 as a starter in his rookie year. Did not have much around him. Sean McVay has been a godsend. His first-year head coach running this offense. Quick setup and throw. Pass is caught. Watkins out on the edge. And he's knocked out of bounds at the 32. Well, here's Jared Goff. 20 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and protected much better in 2017 than a year ago. He got knocked around.
We'll get into it. This organization did a lot of good things for Jared Goff. The difference, the biggest difference, I think, in the improved offensive play has been the job of that offensive line.
Austin was in motion. Here's a toss to Gurley. And Todd Gurley is inside the 10 and knocked out of bounds inside the 5. A 30-yard carry on the toss from Jared Goff. Todd Gurley sets up 1st and goal.
Rams like a lot of this misdirection with Tavon Austin. They get the ball to Gurley, and it's not a surprise that a lot of the things that they do that require offensive linemen pulling, getting out in space and blocking, they do to their left side. That's an athletic side of the offensive line, blocking down the field. That's a terrific job. Sammy Watkins, a wide receiver, getting in the middle of it too.
On 1st down, Gurley. Touchdown, Los Angeles.
Key block being right here as he blocks down and helps spring Gurley, and then you got 2 defenders right there meeting him at the line, but you're not going to stop Gurley from scoring.
That is his 12th touchdown. That's number 1 in the NFL. Behind this offensive line, he pounds it in. A Pro Bowler as a rookie, had a down year a year ago. He is a huge weapon for the 9-3 Rams, who lead by 7. It was the interception by Kayvon Webster on the deflection that set up the touchdown. It was Gurley who took it in, and this crowd here in LA likes the start. Well, what a start for the Rams. As their veteran left tackle said, this is one of those statement games. Andrew Whitworth and his Rams have made an early statement with 7 points off the turnover. Barner will take a knee. Well, what a difference a year makes for the Rams. Talked about the struggles with Goff at the end of the year last year. Overall, a team that averaged 14 points a game. They're at 30 points a game this year. The takeaways are up already. 18 takeaways all last year. The wins, obviously, that's the most important stat. Here's a 31-year-old head coach who is one of the most impressive football minds you and I have talked to in the time we've been together.
Yeah, they certainly got the right guy for the head job, and I had a lot of respect for him when he was the coordinator in Washington and thought he would be of real help to Jared Goff, but he has done a great job leading this entire organization.
Here's Clement. Great blocking out in front of him. Waits for one of his blockers to get out there. By the time Brandon Brooks got in front of him, it was a catch and run of 28. And a good start to this drive for Philadelphia.
You're going to see a lot of screen passes against this Los Angeles Rams defense because of the way they can pressure the quarterback. We saw it on that first possession. They tried it. They come right back to it here. That's set up nicely. They pick up a nice game.
Wentz hangs in, fires incomplete. Selleck was the target. Zach Ertz is not active today. They thought he might be able to bounce back from the concussion he suffered in Seattle. He's inactive, so they have 2 tight ends. You look at their offensive line, and that guy out of right tackle, Lane Johnson, has had a fantastic 2017.
Yeah, he sure has. And the right guard, Brandon Brooks, has also played very well. And Zach Ertz not being in the lineup, that certainly hurts them. He's their leading receiver. It's a lot of production not to have on the field today, and between Brent Selleck and Trey Burton, they're going to try to pick up the slack, but there's a lot to overcome.
On 2nd down, handoff is to Ajayi, and the former Dolphin able to bounce off a couple of tackles and take it to the 40. A good run. A gain of 7 as he went around Alec Ogletree, and it brings up a manageable 3rd down and 3. You look at this defense, it's a 3-4 for Wade Phillips, and that guy, Aaron Donald, at the end or when they slide him inside, he is the best in the NFL.
For him to have the kind of pressure that he's able to get from the inside position is really something. He's as good as there's ever been, and he's a load for this offensive line to try to keep him from getting back there to Wentz.
Third down and 3. The handoff to Ajayi, and he's got a 1st down for the Eagles, to the delight of many Philadelphia Eagles fans in attendance here. Gain of 9 to bring up a 1st down. Tyron Walker on the tackle.
One of the things the Eagles are doing a lot more of is they run these run-pass options, and Wentz is going to decide based on the look whether or not he's going to hand it off, or if they overload the line of scrimmage, he can come out and he can throw the ball to these wide receivers, and you see it over and over and over, and they probably do more of it than anybody in football.
On first down, Wentz well protected to the sideline. Jeffrey with a catch and out of bounds with another first down. He's been a hot receiver of late. He's got a smile on his face and a new 4-year contract extension.
Well, this is a nice drive right now for this Philadelphia Eagles offense. And, you know, when you look at what they've done this year, they don't get shut out much on their first 2 possessions to start a game. They usually come away with some points, throw the interception on the 3rd play of the game, and Carson Wentz is starting to heat up a little bit. That was a nice throw to Jeffrey.
They're inside the red zone. This is the #1 red zone offense in the NFL. Blount carries. Gets it just inside the 15 to the 14. A gain of 2, and John Johnson, the rookie safety, came up to make the tackle.
You talked about some of the takeaways that this Rams defense has been able to get this year. They set the tone last week. They had LaMarcus Joyner. There's Wade Phillips, who orchestrates it all. He's as good as there is in the game. Everywhere he goes, he gets those defenses turned around. But LaMarcus Joyner, he set the tone on the first defensive snap last week in the win over Arizona. And then, of course, Kayvon Webster did it today.
On second down, Wentz, end zone, incomplete, but a flag. Selleck the target with Ogletree in coverage.
It's a good route by Brent Selleck. You can see Ogletree grabs a hold of him as he's running up that seam route. Selleck doesn't get a whole lot of opportunities
pass
these days.
Defense number 52. The pass interference occurred in the end zone. The ball would put at the 1-yard line. Automatic first down.
Ogletree hurt that elbow last week. He also had an interception last week, returned it for a touchdown, but he injured that left elbow, and you see it all wrapped up. And he tried to play last week with it. He was playing with one arm, basically. It was a non-factor. Wasn't sure whether or not he was going to be able to go today.
First and goal. Blount. Just short of the goal line. Second and goal. LeGarrette Blount was a specialist in this category for the world champion Patriots a year ago. Had 18. He's got just 2 so far as an Eagle. Wentz. Touchdown, but a flag, and it looked like a false start. There are 3 flags on the field. Let's get the call.
False start. Offense, number 65. That's a 5-yard penalty. Replay. Second down.
That's the aforementioned Lane Johnson, the right tackle who flinched.
There it is right there at the end of the line, and boy, that's a big 5 yards down here.
Second and goal from inches outside the 5. You see goal to go. This is the best offense in the NFL. 88%.
One-on-one up top.
Wentz. Touchdown, Selleck. And what an answer from Philadelphia. He'd gone 33 games without a touchdown catch. A guy who's been a star in the past, and he's now the top tight end for Carson Wentz without Ertz, and he takes it in.
Yeah, just a breakdown there in coverage, and John Johnson, the safety, he takes a false step, gets Selleck out on the edge, and a touchdown for Eagles.
7-7 game. Wentz and the Eagles answer. Brent Selleck, his first touchdown catch since Thanksgiving of 2015, ties the game at 7. Stadium that holds over 90,000 fans, home to the USC Trojans, home to the Los Angeles Rams, and a good start to this one. Fun start. 7-7. Early turnover by Philly turned into points, and then the Eagles answered. Pharoh Cooper will bring it out to the 20, maybe just beyond. That's it. Corey Graham on the tackle, and let's go down to Aaron Andrews.
Eagles have been out here on the West Coast for about over a week. Of course, after their game in Seattle on Sunday night, they just stayed out here. Head coach Doug Peterson said he thought it was a great opportunity. Just stay here, get acclimated, not deal with weather issues in Philly. Great quote from defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz about, actually Troy asked him, how do you like the weather here in Southern California? And of course, he said he doesn't even care what the temperatures are during the NFL season. He could be in Siberia for all he cares. Interesting, though, talking to a lot of guys, they said, look, you know, we practiced out where the Angels play, their ballpark. We were in a hotel all week long, but guys really taken out of their routine. Carson Wentz saying before the game, I just can't wait to get this one and get home, Joe.
Yeah, not exactly Siberia weather back home in Philadelphia. 38 degrees, but it was 82 at the start of this one. There was an offside call against Philadelphia on the kickoff, so they add 5 yards to the end of the return, and starting just outside the 25 are the Rams in a 7-7 game. Gurley takes it left side, a lot of room, and Todd Gurley out near the 48, but a flag is down back near the line of scrimmage.
Holding. Offense, number 65. It's a 10-yard penalty replay. First down.
That negates a 22-yard carry by Gurley as Sullivan is flagged.
He's right in the middle, the center, John Sullivan, and let's take a look. And yeah, you know, the two guards, I will tell you, Roger Saffold and Jamon Brown, they came off and made great blocks on their guys, and the hold certainly brings back a heck of a run.
This is the #1 run defense in the NFL, Philadelphia. They allow the opposition 68 yards a game. They'll have their hands full with Gurley today. Here's a screen for Todd Gurley. And he'll get the yardage back just about. Back to that original line of scrimmage, gets 9.
You know, go back to Aaron's report about the Eagles staying out here in Southern California. I think that's always a tough decision for a head coach to make as to whether or not you're going to travel back to the East Coast and then know you've got to come back out west. But a lot of these players, it is unsettling. You get used to your routine and your environment. Things are a little different down there this week for this Eagles team.
Second down and 11 now after the screen to Gurley, and Goff. That is an incomplete pass. Nearly a lateral. Gurley was close enough to it. No flag for grounding either. And it's 3rd and 11.
Well, there's just not going to be a lot of opportunities to sit back there and hold the football. And inside pressure, it's a 4-man rush, and the ball has to come out pretty quickly when you're facing this front.
Listen to this noise from the Eagle fans. Goff finds Gerald Everett. He's short. And they say the Eagles fans travel well. Well, during the week, Sean McVay, he said to us, joked about having to use the silent count here at home, but on 3rd down and 11, these fans here in Philly Green were making a ton of noise.
They travel very well, and everyone knew that they would. They played in San Diego earlier in the year and pretty much took over that stadium. There are a lot of Eagle faithful here today.
Punt by Becker. A line drive, don't know if it was tipped. It's an effective punt, and one of the best in the game. Knocks it out of bounds inside the 20. They're going to mark it at the 12. You mean the LA Chargers?
Yes,
the
of course.
LA Chargers, right? 7-7. Arguably the most balanced offense in the NFL. The Philadelphia Eagles will start at their own 12 in a 7-7 game. Wentz and the Eagles went 7-9 a year ago. They are 10-2, and a win here today gives them the NFC East. Play action. Wentz finds his man, and out to the 20 is Torrey Smith. Smith has been quiet of late, a gain of 8 out to the 20-yard line as he worked against Webster.
Yeah, that's a matchup that they like because Webster, they prefer to put him on the speed receiver. That would be Torrey Smith for the Philadelphia Eagles. And hey, you're right, Joe. He had a big catch many weeks ago down the field, but since then they've been hard to come by. And for a guy who's a real deep threat, they've had a hard time finding ways to get him the ball and create some big plays in the passing game.
Also with his third team over the last 4 years is LeGarrette Blount is going to be knocked down just short of first down yardage by John Johnson. This Rams team has drafted well. It's been a while since you can say that about the Rams. Have added key free agents. The feel around the organization, I can tell you, is entirely different than it's been for over a decade.
Well, yeah, that's for sure. And, you know, there's been a lot of changes, as we know. And I think Les Snead and Kevin Demoff did a heck of a job in this offseason surrounding Jared Goff with some outstanding players. And the draft, as you said, was really good, relying on a lot of young players.
Play action, pressure. Wentz steps up down the field. It's broken up, but a flag. Tremaine Johnson working against Alshon Jeffrey.
Pass interference. Defense number 22. The ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
Well, there's certainly contact. It's a good call. He's got his right arm around him. They're obviously trying to take a shot there on 3rd and 1, and Carson Wentz takes a pretty good shot at the end of that play, and because of that, not able to really step into that throw. The ball was underthrown a bit, and Alshon Jeffrey trying to come back and make a play, and they get Tremaine Johnson with a pass interference and a big shift in field position.
That's the second pass interference call against the Rams secondary. One in the end zone. This one a big one, over 40 yards of field position. This one for Jeffrey, but he's overthrown. It was a 41-yard penalty on Tremaine Johnson for interfering with Alshon Jeffrey, and Carson Wentz would love to have that one back.
Yeah, he would, and the Eagles tried blocking him up a little bit. They wanted to take a shot down the field, and it's something that they missed out on last week in that loss against Seattle, to where they had opportunities and they just failed to connect. And that, to me, is going to be the key for Carson Wentz and this Eagles team as they move through the rest of this season and into the postseason. You got to make those plays when they're available, and that's the difference in being a championship quarterback and not.
Second down and 10. Wentz keeps it over the middle. Pass caught by Aguilar to the 25, and a spin move down to the 20. Coming off his biggest game in the NFL, 7 catches, 141 yards against Seattle. He gets 18 here.
Well, good protection up front with Stefan Wisniewski, and he's got Aaron Donald, not an easy matchup, and Nelson Aguilar, what a year he has had. He just ran one heck of a route against man coverage and created separation for Carson Wentz. He's come back home, a former USC standout, played his college games here at the Coliseum. You know he's excited today. Good.
That play blown dead before it began.
Ball start. Offense, number 72. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
That's against Vaitai, the left tackle, who has taken over for Jason Peters, the 9-time Pro Bowler. That is a big injury, and Vaitai's done a nice job of blocking for Carson Wentz.
He sure has. That was a real concern when Peters went down, and he stepped in, struggled in the first start, didn't play. Nobody played well last week against Seattle. It's a hard place for an offensive lineman to do well on the road in Seattle, but overall, he's been solid.
Wentz in trouble, steps into it, pass is dropped by Mack Hollins. What a throw by Wentz with heavy pressure in his face. And Hollins could not hang on to the football. And now Kayvon Webster is down and grabbing his lower right leg.
It's a heck of a route by Mack Hollins. He's got a chance. It's right there in his hands, and it's a great job by Wentz hanging in the pocket and delivering a perfect throw.
They look at Webster. We'll take a break. Well, this is not good for Kayvon Webster or for the Rams. He has to be carted off the field in coverage on that throw to Mack Hollins. And so now the Rams are without their starting right corner. 2nd and 15 here for the Eagles in a 7-7 game. Handoff to Clement. And Corey Clement to the 21, 3rd and long coming up. Alec Ogletree with the bad hyperextended left elbow there for the tackle after a gain of 4.
We'll see what Wade Phillips wants to do here on 3rd down, whether or not he's going to try to dial up some kind of pressure and see if he can create some kind of play or something negative. Keep him from picking up the 1st down and maybe make this field goal opportunity just a little tougher.
Pass over the middle. It is caught for the touchdown. That's Trey Burton. Boy, he was well covered, and Carson Wentz just threw a beautiful pass for the touchdown.
Getting a little chippy down there on the field. Trey Burton, they have the perfect route called as the defender there jumps to the outside. John Johnson, Ogletree trying to get underneath it. He's never able to even get turned around to see if the ball is in flight. And Carson Wentz makes another perfect throw. So without Zach Ertz, we've seen Brent Selleck, we've seen now Trey Burton. Those guys have been able to make some plays here in this 1st quarter.
And Carson Wentz already showing what he can do. Yes, he got picked off on that deflected pass, but he has found 6 different receivers, and he just connected with Trey Burton on a 20-yard touchdown throw. And the Eagles on the road lead by 7 as it starts to heat up down on the field. Well, it ended on the 20-yarder to Trey Burton. A touchdown catch to make it 14-7. Philadelphia out in front. Carson Wentz has looked very impressive here, bouncing back. After the loss in Seattle, Pharoh Cooper will keep it in the end zone. Obviously a big story in this area, the wildfires of Southern California. For more on that, let's go down to Aaron.
Yeah, Joe, as you guys know, just been horrific devastation by these fires. The LA Rams practice facility actually out in Ventura, where a lot of these fires have been, and punter Johnny Hecker and his wife spent Tuesday an off day for this team delivering goods to a shelter nearby in Ventura. Of course, the Rams on Wednesday had to move their practice inside because of the air quality, but we were out there Friday, gosh, and you wouldn't have even known about all this devastation and all the bad smoke all over Southern California.
2 minutes, 54 seconds left in the opening quarter. Play clock at 1. And a timeout was taken by Sean McVay on the sideline. He was watching the play clock. If it had eluded the vision of Jared Goff. So we'll be right back after this message from Pizza Hut. Heard the report from Aaron Andrews, and it was Johnny Hecker and his wife Michaela who were passing out sweatpants, sweatshirts, supplies, water, diapers to families who had been displaced. Met a couple of those families during the weekend here in Los Angeles and in the area. They have been through a lot. Here's a deep throw to Sammy Watkins. That play not there. And it'll be 2nd down and 10 as the Rams try and air it out here on 1st down.
Yeah, pretty interesting as I see Sean McVay from where he is calling this game. He's a good 20-25 yards away from the line of scrimmage. He's right here, and there's a lot that happens at the line of scrimmage between him and Jared Goff, and sometimes they'll come up and they'll snap it quick. Other times they'll come up and show that they're going to snap it quick, and McVay will relay a play to him, and then Goff will communicate that to the rest of the team, and off they go.
Drag it.
On second down, Goff, good protection. Pass is caught by Kupp. And the rookie Cooper Kupp is good on 2nd and 10 for 19 yards, covered by McLeod.
And now Sean McVay, now he's at the line of scrimmage, right across where Goff is. He's giving him the play now or the formation. We'll see what Goff does, if he comes up and snaps it or if he pulls back out and McVay gives him another play. He won't now because the clock's going down to 15.
Goff rolling out to his right, has a ton of room in front of him, and that room no longer there. As Patrick Robinson closed on Jared Goff, and Goff got back to the line of scrimmage.
It's one of the reasons why the Rams like to play so fast. They like to get to the line of scrimmage. The coach is able to communicate with the quarterback up until there's 15 seconds on the play clock. So the faster they can get up, the more time Sean McVay has to communicate with his quarterback.
What? Yo.
Handoff is to Gurley. And on second down, a nice carry out to the 49. You heard the command from Jared Goff. He said Paula Patton. They have a lot of different phrases, different names. They try to keep it fun, and Sean McVay lets the players come up with the name or the word, the reminder. He said, I don't care what it is,
right,
as long as it helps them remember what the play is supposed to be.
They've all gotten on board with it. They have a lot of fun with it. The game has changed so much that, you know, one word can set the formation, the protection, as well as the play. We're seeing it at youth levels, the way that these kids are playing fast break offense.
3rd down and 4. Goff gets hit, pass incomplete. Well played by this Philly defense. Watkins was the target, but Goff got popped when he let that ball go.
He sure did. I couldn't tell exactly who it was. It was over John Sullivan right there at the nose that got past him, and I'm not surprised. It's Fletcher Cox, and tell you what, if you're going to play the Philadelphia Eagles, you better have some answers for him, and one guy is not going to keep him off your quarterback.
And if you're going to play the Rams, you got to always be aware of a fake punt. Hecker boots it inside the 10. Barner stays away, and it goes into the end zone. And a good decision by Kenyon Barner. Considered the league's most prestigious honor, the Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year Award recognizes NFL players who have made a significant impact both on the game and in their communities. This year's nominees for these two teams. For the Eagles, it's Malcolm Jenkins, and for the Rams, Roger Saffold. This year's winner will be announced at the NFL Honors Show the night before Super Bowl 52. And to learn more about all of this year's nominees, visit NFL.com/Man of the Year. Philadelphia defense looking to bounce back. They had 2 great weeks, and then they got Russell Wilson last week. Under a minute to go, opening quarter. Play action from Wentz. Pass is caught by Aguilar, and so far the Rams don't have much of an answer for the passing game of the Philadelphia Eagles.
No, they really don't, and I'm curious to see now what Wade Phillips is going to try to do, some of the adjustments that he might make, because other than the takeaway to start this game, they've not been able to stop this Eagles offense. I'd expect to see him start dialing up a few more blitzes and try to get into the face of Carson Wentz.
2nd and 3. Blunt gets it. And LeGarrette Blunt wrapped up a yard short of a 1st down. And that is the end of an entertaining 21-point opening quarter. Eagles have 14 of those 21 points, lead by 7. Back after this from your local Fox station. This is only the 4th time in NFL history the two teams have met in December or January, averaging 30 points per game. It was a 21-point first quarter, with the Eagles leading by 7. Big 3rd and 1 here. Looked like a flinch, no call. Wentz out to his right, in trouble, makes a move around Brockers and completes it. That is all Carson Wentz. And if you want to see why this guy is so good, just watch this play.
It is all Carson Wentz. Alec Ogletree, he comes right up the middle, and Wentz is able to get away from him, and then you see he's able to make the move there and then still find Jeffrey for the first down. It's pretty remarkable, and Alshon Jeffrey does an excellent job of giving his quarterback a place to go with the ball, and that's twice now on 3rd and short. They've come out with play action. The one they got the pass interference. This time Carson Wentz able to keep the play alive. We've seen it so many times this year. That's great work.
Stuff like that. Reason why he's the #1 rated quarterback on 3rd down. Here's Ajayi. And the man that was traded from the Miami Dolphins to the Eagles is good for 19 yards, and this Philly offense looks terrific.
Yeah, you see Mark Barron, number 26. That's just not a good job on his part at all. And Jay Ajayi, I credit Howie Roseman and the moves that they made in getting players around Carson Wentz, and then to make a trade or to be able to pick up Jay Ajayi with the trade right before the trade deadline after losing a guy like Darren Sproles and just solidifying the running back position. It's paid off.
First down from the 40. Wentz, good protection again, and overthrows Matt Collins.
This defense for the Rams, they're not accustomed to this. If you go back since week 4 and what they've been able to do, they have not given up a lot of yards, just a little over 300 yards a game, and they've given up an average of just 14 points. And of course the Eagles matched the point total there in the first quarter.
Second down and 10. Low snap. Wentz. Pass is incomplete for Selleck. Good throw, but a well-timed hit by John Johnson.
Yeah, it was, and Wentz drove that ball pretty good. He saw the closing speed of John Johnson, and it was a perfectly thrown ball. Johnson, he's able to jar it loose. A big 3rd down here for this Rams defense. See if they can't make a stop and get off the field.
Well, maybe no first down for Philadelphia. They'd like to take a chunk of yardage and give their kicker, Jake Elliott, a shot at a try if they don't get the first. On 3rd down, pass is caught. Quick tackle on Trey Burton by Troy Hill, and it's going to bring up 4th down, and we'll see what Doug Peterson wants to do.
Well, he's gone for it a lot on 4th down.
11 for 11 on 4th and 1, and they're going to go.
Carson Wentz has not been stopped on 3rd or 4th and 1, but they've got him in the shotgun here, so it won't be the keeper.
Wentz to his right, pass caught. Aguilar, first down and more. Out of bounds inside the 15, and the Eagles keep on rolling. 18 yards on 4th and 1.
Like that they moved the pocket just a little bit, didn't really have to, but it gives Carson Wentz a clean line of vision then to Aguilar to pick that up.
A couple of big completions for this Philadelphia offense. Once on 3rd and 1 and now on 4th and 1 in this first half. What a start for the Eagles. Wentz has to back up. Pass is nearly picked. Nickel Roby-Coleman made the diving try. Like his receiver had fallen down. Might have been Clement in in the area. 2nd and 10.
Yeah, couldn't really tell. He had a chance to, but every now and then you'll see that from Carson Wentz where he'll make one of those throws that just sails on him, and that one was almost costly.
Second and 10. Delayed handoff to Blunt. Bottled up, but still able to push the pile near the 10. 3rd down coming up.
Yeah, another 3rd and long, and Carson Wentz has been outstanding all season long on 3rd down passing. He leads the NFL in quarterback rating on this down. The last touchdown pass that he threw to Burton was on 3rd and long. He's faced with another 3rd and long down here in the red zone, and we'll see if maybe the Rams can do something, but he's been awfully good.
And a timeout taken by Wentz. Top-ranked offense in the NFL inside the red zone. Carson Wentz has yet to throw an interception inside the red zone. And it'll be a big 3rd down and 7 as Doug Peterson going over the play call with Carson Wentz. Well, after losing in Seattle, the Philadelphia Eagles spent time during the week down in Anaheim working out at the Angels Stadium. And the way they've come out of the gates here today, they may just stay there and then, I guess, commute to the Giants as they play them next week.
Yeah, I don't know where Jim Schwartz will go then if they do stay down
Siberia.
here. But this has been impressive how the Eagles, after that opening possession interception, Carson Wentz, he's been excellent.
3rd down, Wentz throws, pass, caught, end zone, Burton, touchdown.
That's a perfectly thrown ball by Wentz, and knowing the window that he had and where he had to put it to give Burton an opportunity to make this play, because Mark Barron, he's there to where he can try to fall off of his receiver and make a play on it as well. If you drive it down low, if you keep it up high and let your tight end go up, you big body him. And I tell you, I was wondering how they were going to do without Zach Ertz here in this game, and the early returns are awfully good for Burton and Selleck. They've been excellent.
So 3 touchdown throws, all 3 to tight ends. Selleck on the board, Burton the last 2. It's 21-7. And when you come to Los Angeles, the Stars come out, even when they wear the colors of the visiting team. Bradley Cooper and Jeffrey Lurie loving it. Well, if there are any statements yet, it's that Philadelphia, which right now is the #1 seed in the NFC, is a handful. We knew that, obviously, as this season has progressed. You see the scoring drive. They had a hiccup in Seattle. They're not the first team to have a hiccup against the Seahawks on the road. But, man, they have come out firing here today. They look great. It is week 14 around the NFL and some early game headlines. Jonathan Stewart, he had a big game and a win for Carolina over Minnesota. That's big news, by the way, for Philadelphia and for the Rams. Dallas and Detroit, they both get needed wins. And then an interception by Josh Jones in OT allowed Brett Hundley for a big come-from-behind win and a win in overtime for the Packers. They may very well get Aaron Rodgers back next week. They've got a matchup at Carolina, and they're back over 500. 3rd win for Hundley. They're 7-6. Rams need to figure it out. They have just 3 first downs. Philly with over 200 yards of offense. Goff spins out of there and throws it away. Graham with pressure.
It's Brandon Graham off the edge, and Brandon Graham is having himself a heck of a season. He's got a career best 8.5 sacks this year, and there was a time they moved him to be a 3-4 outside linebacker. I think that was a tough transition for him, and Jim Schwartz got him back playing the defensive end spot, and he feels at home, and it has shown.
First 3 drives for the Rams. 3 Todd Gurley runs for 38 yards. Trailing by 14 points. Goff protected. Pass is incomplete over the middle to the rookie Cooper Kupp.
I think Jim Schwartz got to feel pretty good about the way this defense is playing, and more importantly, the way that this secondary has been able to hold up. Some of their man coverage looks, they haven't given Goff many places to go with the football.
Jim Schwartz lost his middle linebacker, the really talented Jordan Hicks. Started the first 7 games, blew out his Achilles. They're without Joe Walker, their middle linebacker, for the 2nd straight game with a stinger. Najee Good started in the middle, 3rd and 10.
They're showing a blitz here, possibly.
Gurley hangs in, throws, pass caught, Cooper Kupp. And a big first down and more. Inside Eagle territory, good move. Looking for a block from Watkins, gets it down inside the 15. What a play on 3rd and 10 for 64 yards.
Well, he had the opportunity because McLeod was playing inside leverage. You got an outside breaking route, man coverage, and Kupp does an excellent job and a well-thrown ball by Goff, and then the run after the catch. And boy, you talk about a time when they needed a big play, get themselves right back into this game. It was much needed at the right time.
Rookie year for Cooper Kupp. That's his long for the year, the 64 yards. See if this is against Bo Allen. He came across defensively. Was he drawn off?
Neutral zone infraction. Defense number 94. It's a 5-yard penalty. First down.
Against Allen.
Now this is a defensive front because they like to tee off on the quarterback, that you can get them drawn off sides and try to take advantage of that. Bo Allen just jumped the gun.
When we talk about a team's defensive front 4, you can really call it for the Eagles a front 8. They rotate players in and out, trying to stay fresh. On first down, play action. Goff keeps, flips. He is nearly picked by Bradham. He had Cooper in the back of the end zone.
All he had
absolutely wide open.
Yeah, all you have to do is just lay it over the top. You're going to see number 10, Pharoh Cooper, work back to the corner, and you see Cooper saying, man, just give a little air under that ball.
Second and 5. Gurley can't make the play. And Bradham was out there for Philly anyway. 3rd down and 5. Bradham on the far side of the field almost had his first interception, and then on the near side of the field is there defending Todd Gurley. 3rd down here.
Well, we watched them in Friday's practice, and I know that John McVay was expecting some all-out blitzes down here by the Eagles. They've got some answers for it, but so far Jim Schwartz has played coverage and not brought the blitz, and he's not going to here.
On 3rd down, Goff, pass caught, Kupp, touchdown. Fought his way through Jalen Mills and able to get the football inside the pylon. And Cooper Kupp, who got him down there, has his 4th touchdown of the year.
This won't show up in the stat sheet, but if you watch Jared Goff, he's got pressure at his feet, and he's having to make a throw, and if that ball's not where it is, it's not going to be a touchdown. Jalen Mills more than likely makes the tackle. There's his foot, his right foot looks like it's on the line. I'm not sure exactly where the ball was. They'll be taking a look at that, of course, but I don't think Kupp has any opportunity to score if Goff doesn't put the ball out in front where he could make a play after the catch.
The question is, where's the foot? Does it stay in bounds? Can't see it there. Ball definitely got inside the pylon. Here's a better look. I think he's in.
I do too.
And they have verified it with replay. Now the extra point by Zerline. Rams get what they need right when they needed it. The 64-yarder to Cooper Kupp got him in position. Then the rookie Kupp took it in. 7-point game on America's Game of the Week. Well, look at what Carson Wentz has already done in this his second season. He's tied Sonny Jurgensen, who had the Eagles' all-time record for touchdown throws in a season. He's got plenty more to go. He could be all alone by the end of the day. He's an impressive guy when you get a chance to talk to him off the field, and he's impressive on it as well. The drive for the Eagles will start at the 25, and on that touchdown throw by Goff, which was an impressive throw, basically flat-footed, you see Andrew Whitworth, who gets hit by Fletcher Cox from behind into the back of the right leg, and they have been checking him out over on the sideline.
Yeah, he's another one of those guys that Les Snead was able to bring in and really help out this offense. He was voted as a team captain, and a guy who knows what playoff football is all about, and I think he's been good, not only for that offensive front, but I think he's been good certainly for Jared Goff as well. He was with the Bengals when Andy Dalton came in. He knows some of the struggles and the challenges for a young quarterback.
Here's Clement. Good run on first down. He picks up 11. Troy Hill out there to make the stop, but for a college free agent out of Wisconsin, Corey Clement shows what he can do week in and week out.
Well, you talk about Carson Wentz and the year that he has had. It's been terrific, and there's a good chance he'll be voted as the league MVP, and that says a lot. And having said that, I think he's just scratching the surface on how good he can be. When you watch him play and see the different things that he's capable of doing and some of the plays he misses.
Here's one incomplete for Torrey Smith. When you combine the most provocative man in sports with the most interesting man in sports, you get opinion that cuts through the hype. Catch Speak for Yourself with Jason Whitlock and Colin Cowherd weekdays at 5 Eastern only on FS1.
Talk about some of the plays that Carson misses, and we saw that certainly last week, but I think there are times he gets locked in on some receivers, and he'll continue to improve, and you think about it, how productive he's been, and even Doug Peterson, when I was talking to him about it, he agreed. This guy is immensely talented.
Wentz spins into a sack, and it's Robert Quinn. And a big loss on the play of 10 yards on the sack by Quinn.
They got two guys trying to block up Robert Quinn, and Quinn just splits them, and he's able to get right to Carson Wentz. Man-to-man coverage on the other side, and Robert Quinn is really having himself a nice season. He's had some injuries in previous years, 3 sacks here in the last 2 games. He just got another.
He's been dealing with a bad back. He had 19 sacks in 2013 with the St. Louis Rams. 14 and a half coming into this game over the last 3 years combined. That was a big one. Now on 3rd down and 20, a screen for Blunt. Good block on Ogletree, but Blunt wrapped up across the 30 by Nickel Roby-Coleman. A gain of 7, and it's 4th down.
Yeah, and I haven't seen many of those, right? So Wade Phillips, he's able to get this defense going and make a stop against this Eagles offense, and they're able to do it because they're finally able to get pressure on Carson Wentz.
Donnie Jones will punt. Pharoh Cooper, 3rd best punt return average at over 12.5 yards per effort, waits. This one nearly blocked.
Not sure how he missed that.
Me either. Here is the return by Cooper. It was Corey Littleton who got through and almost had a big block. couldn't get there. Rams have it down 7. Well, his nickname is Bones. He's one of the best special teams coaches in the NFL. It's John Fossil, and he had Corey Littleton zip through the line, and again, I mean, you watch the replay, you have no idea how he missed it.
Went underneath his arm, and Corey Littleton turned his head, and when you're rushing the punter, you take the ball right off the punter's foot. I mean, you just go get the ball, attack the ball. He could have grabbed it. He was so close. So you don't have opportunities like that. This special teams unit's so good, I'm surprised he couldn't make it.
Here is Gurley trying to get back into the action on first down. Todd Gurley up the gut gets 5. Tim Jernigan on the tackle. Well, head coach is always talking about trying to win in all 3 phases: offense, defense, special teams. And even when the Rams were not a good club, they always had good special teams, with Zerline their kicker, Hacker the punter, a Pro Bowl long snapper, and Jake McQuaid. And well, it's well coordinated by John Fossil.
Well, it sure is. He's done a great job. And
here is Goff spinning out to his right. Flag is thrown in the secondary, and it's against Philadelphia.
Prior to the pass, holding, defense, number 21. It's a 5-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
Well, that's on Patrick Robinson, and I couldn't tell if he was the one in coverage on Sammy Watkins or not, but they were trying to get a shot down the field. Sure enough, they want to go play action, move the pocket, set Goff up, and take a shot clear across the field to the opposite side, and they had a chance. But Goff was unable to set his feet because of the pass rush. They still get the penalty on Robinson, though.
Jared Goff does not have Whitworth out there. Tossed to Tavon Austin running left, and a nice gain on first down. We showed you the injury to Andrew Whitworth. For more, let's go down to Aaron.
Yeah, Joe, here's a look at when he kind of gets rolled up on. We did show you him leaving the field. They are calling his injury an ankle. He is questionable to return. We'll see if he can come back in the second half. A huge piece of this offensive line for the Rams.
So Darrell Williams is out there at left tackle. They leave Rob Havenstein at right tackle. Yep, big loss. 2nd and 4.
Call him. Head. Hey, hurry. Turbo, hunt.
Gurley. Got a yard.
Not easy to run the football against this Eagles defensive front, and the Rams haven't tried a whole lot, but not able to get much there out of that second down. You think about the success of this offense this season, and a big reason for that, as I said, is the play of the offensive line, and this is one of the few offensive lines around the league that's remained really healthy this year, but trying to replace Andrew Whitworth, that's a challenge.
3rd down and 3. Goff gets hit as he throws it. Pass is incomplete. And Goff ends up without his helmet on his head. It's 4th down.
Once again, it's Fletcher Cox working against the center, John Sullivan, and they come with a 5-man rush this time. It's unusual for Jim Schwartz, but you have no opportunity. You see the hit on Jared Goff, and yeah, that doesn't feel too good, but you have no opportunity whatsoever as a quarterback when you have that kind of pressure that fast right in the middle of the pocket. Fletcher Cox has been a challenge for them to be able to block here this afternoon.
Hacker hits the punt. Barner over to his right, makes the catch, and that was well played downfield. Michael Thomas downfield made the stop. It's a 1-yard return after a 54-yard punt. Well, you talk about a discrepancy in age and experience. You got the head coach and the defensive coordinator. Where were you 30 years ago? Well, Wade Phillips was 40 years old and with the Eagles, and Sean McVay, who's his boss, was 1. And a cute little 1-year-old. He was actually hired at the age of 30 a couple of weeks before he turned 31. And Wade Phillips, as you said, one of the best to ever coordinate defenses in the NFL. A lot of experience for Sean to lean on.
Yeah, and you don't feel like Sean McVay is just 31 years old when you sit and talk to him. He's got a lot of football knowledge, smart guy.
Here's Ajayi on first down. He is really running well. Had his most work with the Eagles last week at Seattle, and this one good for 14.
Well, they were telling us that Wes Phillips was the tight ends coach for the Washington Redskins, and there was some interest in Sean McVay in Wade Phillips if he got a job. And Wes Phillips told his dad, he said, "Dad, I'm telling you, if Sean McVay interviews for a head coaching job, he will get it." And he certainly did. He interviewed here in Los Angeles, got hired, and Wade Phillips came along with him.
There was nothing there. Pass incomplete for Torrey Smith. Yeah, say that again. It could get lost. Wes Phillips told his dad, if the Rams interview Sean McVay at the age of 30, he'll get the job. And Wes Phillips was right, and Wes's dad, Wade, came aboard.
Yeah, and it was a great hire because, as you see, when you're the play caller and the head coach, it's hard to work both sides of the ball. And so right now he's over there looking at the tapes and the pictures, and he's deciding what he wants to come back with the next time the Rams have the ball. And he trusts all the years of experience, 40 years in the NFL for Wade Phillips. He lets him run that defense on his own.
On 2nd and 10, handoff is to Clement, and he lost a yard. Tyron Walker got through to make the play. 3rd and 11 coming up.
Well, we'll see now whether or not the Rams can make a stop defensively. They've done a little bit better here on recent possessions, but they've gotten the Eagles to some 3rd and longs only to see Carson Wentz convert them once again. And another 3rd and long. We'll see if they can force a punt.
Third down and 11. Wentz, bodies around him, pass incomplete for Jeffrey. Well covered by Tremaine Johnson. It's big corner on big receiver, and that time Johnson, good enough.
Yeah, it's a good point because they don't always travel Tremaine Johnson, with the team's best receiver. It's really based on size. They like Tremaine Johnson's size. They like him on big physical wide receivers. Last week he was on Larry Fitzgerald, certainly fits that mold. And then, of course, Alshon Jeffrey. He made a nice play on that 3rd down ball.
Jones hits it. Good Philadelphia bounce. Down inside the 20. 62-yard punt for Donnie Jones, and that is his longest of the season. The veteran and former Ram. Well, this past week, a key member of our crew, Michael Brandt, we call him Mookie around here, lost his father, Ernest, passed away at the age of 91. Our thoughts and prayers are with the entire Brandt family at this time, and his dad's claim to fame, Ernest was a witness to the JFK assassination. So our thoughts with Mookie and his family, and we miss him here to be sure. On first down, Goff has a 7-point deficit and 2 timeouts in his pocket. Goff over the middle, nearly picked. Bradham was back there. Sammy Watkins was the target, and Bradham almost had his well, he's had a couple of looks at a pick.
Yeah, if he had some hands, he'd have a couple interceptions in this game. And I can't imagine that Goff saw him because Bradham was up towards the line of scrimmage, does a great job of turning back and being able to get underneath that route. But it's a couple balls now. He can't believe it either.
Nigel Bradham, by the way, occupied the locker that's typically occupied by the great Mike Trout, 2-time AL MVP. The Eagles were working out at Angel Stadium. Congratulations to the Angels as they land Ohtani.
Yeah.
The pitcher, outfielder, hitter. He is an angel. And a big addition to that team in the AL West. Cooper Kupp made that catch, knocked out of bounds after a gain of 7. It's 3rd and 3. Goff, pass is caught, well played. Reynolds made the catch, but Rodney McLeod, a former Ram, with a sure tackle, knocked down Reynolds short of the line to gain. 2-minute warning here in LA. We're going to stay here as clearly it looked like the tackle was made short of the line to gain, but they're still going to call a timeout. And with the spot, let's see if it's going to be a first down or not. The defense was heading off the field. This will be interesting to look at again.
Yeah, well, I'm with you, Joe. I thought
that was a generous spot, and we'll see if Doug Peterson, who got a lot of heat for not challenging what looked to be a forward toss instead of a lateral last week in Seattle, he's getting information from above as to whether he should throw the challenge flag on the spot. And he's going to have the luxury of the 2-minute warning. Here's the catch. There's the tackle, and there is no way he got to the line.
He's got the ball in his right arm as he's running to the sideline, not anywhere close to getting to the line.
Well, now we're at the 2-minute warning officially, and we'll see what the call is when we come back. Well, Mike Pereira is down the street in Century City. What'd you see back there, Mike?
I see the same thing that you do. He maybe gets the ball just beyond the 27-yard line. They're going to reverse this and make it short. Remember now, it had to be challenged. Even though it is the 2-minute warning, replay doesn't take it over until after the first play inside of 2 minutes. So Doug Peterson's going to win this challenge. It's going to be 4th and maybe 1 or a little less than 1.
Yeah, he will go to 2 for 5 on challenges this year, Doug will, after going 7 for 11 in his first year last year. His Eagles jumped out to a 3-0 start and finished 2 games under 500. Different story this year. His team has taken huge leaps forward offensively, defensively, and here comes the call from Craig Rolstad. Again, this was a 3rd down play and should force 4th and just less than a yard.
After reviewing the play, the runner's forward progress was at the 27 and 1/3 yard line. Therefore, it'll be 4th down, a little more than half a yard to go. Philadelphia will not be charged with a team timeout.
The punt team comes onto the field for Sean McVay.
That's a great job by Rodney McLeod there on that 3rd down tackle. Not easy to do, and when the ball was caught, more times than not, a receiver's going to be able to move the pile a little bit and pick up that 1st down, but he stoned them good and forces this Hecker punt.
Remember, the Rams won the coin flip. They deferred, so they will receive the second half kick. You know how the Eagles are thinking. They've got 2 timeouts to get the ball, about to get the ball back if Hecker does indeed punt it away. He does, with Barner waiting. Another good Hecker punt. Back at the 10. And to the 15, that is it. Littleton, who almost had that block earlier on a punt, is downfield to make the stop. 64-yard punt. Our guys are getting ready for the Visa halftime. Jake Glazer looks like he's ready to pounce on someone.
When does he not?
There's Strahan and Howie, whose boy Chris is playing in this game. I saw Bradshaw down there, Kurt Menefee. There's TB with Czar. John Zarneski, our information man on the pregame show.
Czar's feeding TB all the information for this halftime.
He just told Terry, you know, the Rams were in St. Louis for a while. Is that right? From the 15 on first down, pass broken up. There's Johnson again, and he's had a lot of Alshon Jeffrey in his face for the entire half, and that'll continue.
How about Johnny Hecker, the punter? You call it, what, 64-yard punt there and flips field position. It looked like the Eagles might get pretty good field position to start this drive. And heck, last week against the Cardinals, he bombed a 70-yarder. This guy's really something.
Three-time Pro Bowler in that game, averaged over 51 yards a punt, and just hit a big one there. Hey, the Rams can start thinking about defensive timeouts depending on what happens here on 2nd and 10. Wentz to the sideline, pass is caught by Torrey Smith. Good strong throw. That's a long throw from Carson Wentz to the sideline, gain of 15.
Yeah, it's such a great job by Carson Wentz. Initially, he was going to work the field to his left, and he sees the safety rotation, and they take it away, and he comes off of it, and he's got the sideline route and delivers a nice ball.
It's a big play on 2nd and 10. And he was able to get out of bounds, so still 2 timeouts remaining. From the 31, Wentz. Pass is incomplete for Clement.
Well, a lot of time back there in the pocket, too. Overall, offensive line has done a pretty good job. We've seen Aaron Donald get back there a few times, but you're going to get that when you're facing this defensive front. But I think through this first half, offensive line, in terms of protecting Wentz, has done all right.
Now, a minute 32 left in the half. Delayed handoff and tripped up is Clement by Michael Brockers.
Wow. That was close. If he doesn't go to the ground there was a lot of space out in front of him.
And now a timeout taken by the Rams. Defensively, they have one left because of this play by Brockers.
Yeah, take a look at the middle of the field there. If they don't get Clement down there, he's one-on-one on the middle safety.
And Brockers has been a good player. First-round pick out of LSU in 2012. He's been dependable. Big body up front for Wade Phillips. And when it's 3rd down and 11, offenses become aware of number 99 for the LA Rams. That's Aaron Donald, who held out during the preseason. Never did get his new contract, but he's been heating up of late. 7 sacks over the last 7 games.
Well, he'll get his money. It's just a matter of when. But right now, they could sure use him to put some pressure on Wentz and give their offense one more opportunity before the half.
3rd down and 11. Wentz steps through pressure, throws, pass, caught. Torrey Smith inside the 30. Tripped up inside the 25. 46 yards on 3rd down and 11.
Well, Ogletree comes off the edge, but Wentz steps up, and then you see how he plants his feet, gives himself a good base to make a accurate throw to Torrey Smith. That's really good work by Wentz, navigating the pocket and being able to set his feet and deliver a perfect pass.
And I think he delivered a perfect pass, even though his throwing arm was hit by Michael Brockers. Watch 90 come through. I think he got just a little bit of the arm, and that's why that ball came out weird. Yep, right off the elbow.
Just a touch there, not enough to obviously to keep it from getting to Torrey Smith, but hey, this guy, you see it week in and week out, and how he's able to keep plays alive. And at his size, it really is impressive. I was talking to Howie Long about it during that pregame, and he was saying he reminded him a lot of John Elway, and certainly Howie Long knows how hard he was to get to the ground between those AFC West flashes.
Wentz throws, pass caught inside the 10 to the tight end Burton, who's got 2 touchdowns in this half, a gain of 15.
Well, it's pretty remarkable, you know. I mean, the Rams get the Eagles to 3rd and long. Twice they throw touchdown passes, this last time they get an opportunity to force a punt, give the ball back to their offense, and now the Eagles are knocking on the door.
Wentz steps through it again, fakes a toss, and with a flag down in the end zone, Wentz is down inside the 5. Eagles indicate the call is going to be against LA.
There's no foul for illegal contact as the quarterback was out of the pocket. Second down.
So they pick up the flag.
Yeah, there's the contact. He's out of the pocket. But you talk about what Wentz has been able to do on third down. That's on the quarterback. That's when the quarterbacks earn their money. And if you've got a guy who can deliver on that down, especially third and longs, the way that he has today, you're going to win a lot of football games.
Second down and goal. Wentz fires. Pass broken up. McLeod on the coverage. Aguilar the target. Third and goal. There's Nikel Roby-Coleman, who was in there defending. And Aguilar, who had that big game at Seattle, contested for that throw from Wentz. It'll be third and goal with 19 seconds left.
Well, they've got some questions to answer defensively. The Rams do when they go in at halftime. Right now, they'd be thrilled to just give up 3 points. The Eagles over 300 yards of offense in this half.
Wentz in trouble. Hangs in and gets rid of it. Pass is incomplete. Ogletree with pressure, and it's fourth and goal, and the field goal unit will come on for Philadelphia.
Well, I know Doug Peterson is disappointed. They certainly would have loved to have come away with 7 points, but I think considering where that drive began and what they overcame, finding any kind of points right here, it's a great way to go into halftime.
22-yard chip shot from Jake Elliott. And it's a 10-point game with the half right around the corner, and we'll be back right after this from Lowe's. Wentz has been impressive. So have the Eagles here in downtown Los Angeles. And you look at the NFC playoff picture, you've got Philadelphia right now the number 1 seed. Minnesota lost earlier to the Carolina Panthers. The Rams are there at 9-3, and the Saints with a loss to Atlanta, the team on the far right in the hunt. That happened on Thursday. Squib kick by Elliott, and picked up and returned by Derek Carrier out near the 40, and there are 4 seconds left in the first half, and what is a 10-point game.
I tell you, see the playoff picture, and these next few weeks as we wind it down are going to be really good. I don't know that I can recall, so much at stake in so many of these divisions, and then as far as how seeding will go.
We came in talking about these high-powered attacks. 2 teams tied for the top spot in the NFL, averaging just over 30 points per game. We've seen 48 points, 472 yards in the first half. And it's the Eagles on the road trying to bounce back from that loss in Seattle, leading by 10. We take a look at some fun from Week 13 with sounds from the field, brought to you by Walmart.com. Now offering free 2-day shipping.
This is our time! We came here for something. Let's go back. That's a Pro Bowl play right there.
Well, it's a 10-point game at the half, 24-14. Visa halftime is coming up. Rams will get the second half kickoff. It's been fun. Kurt and the guys coming up. Eagles have played, and Carson Wentz has been outstanding, and now we'll see how the Rams answer. They are the best third quarter team in the NFL, but I'm going to be anxious to see how they come out of this halftime here in the third quarter.
I am too. I know in visiting with Sean McVay on Friday, he said that he thought he was a little too conservative when they played Minnesota a few weeks ago, and he wanted to pull out all the stops and play aggressively. I don't think we saw really all of the aggressiveness that he had intended coming into this ball game, and I would expect offensively, we'll see what he decides to do to start this second half, but I would expect them to be a little bit more up-tempo, certainly a lot more than we saw in that first half.
Here's a short kick, and it's returned by the tight end, Derek Carrier. He got hit hard at the 30, but decent starting field position for the Rams. And let's go down to Erin Andrews.
Guys, in talking to Sean McVay, the one word he kept stressing over and over is finish. Defensively, he said we just need to finish and get some pressure on Carson Wentz, tighten that pocket around him. Offensively, he did, Troy, talk about being aggressive, talk about up-tempo. The good news with that, Andrew Whitworth, left tackle, who he told us this week controls the tempo. He was working out over here on the sidelines. He's still in his pads. Oh, he's in the game. Thank you. So he's good to go.
Well, that's great news for Jared Goff and for Sean McVay.
Well, that's great news, assuming he's not limited.
Here's a handoff to Gurley. Nice move. Breaks 3 tackles, and on the first carry and first play from scrimmage is out across the 45. A gain of 17 as he pushed Rodney McLeod to the side.
Well, it's a great job because Vinny Curry is right there to make a play, and he just gets a little too flat and allows Gurley then to make a cut. Turn that into a pretty good gain when initially it could have very easily have been a loss.
Hey, what's up? Hey, Dusty, fly! Vinny, go! Go, Vinny!
Hand off to Gurley. 2 good runs to start the half, and maybe they'll try to get Todd Gurley a little more involved on the ground, which opens up the play action, which when you talk to Jared Goff, he says our play passes, that's what he loves the most that Sean McVay will call. A gain of 6.
Well, that's really kind of the foundation of this offense is running the football, and clearly Gurley gives them that. This is a defense that generally does not give up many yards on the ground, but you're right. It also helps eliminate some of that pass rush and take the pressure off of Jared Goff.
What are you doing? Screamer. Watch it.
Second and 4. Now they dump it off to Gurley. Gets a block out on the edge. Kendricks can't bring him down. And a nice catch and run by Todd Gurley. And it's been 3 plays from number 30 to start the half, and that one for 20.
Well, yeah, when you got 3 offensive linemen and they're out there leading the way and they just crush. I couldn't see exactly who it was downfield, but you see the 3 offensive linemen blocking Michael Kendricks, and yet Kendricks still able to work off of them and at least get to Gurley, but that was set up nicely.
Already inside the 30-yard line. Malcolm Brown now takes over at running back. Play action. What Goff likes. Pass is caught outside the 10 and now out of bounds near the 6. Cooper Kupp.
Cooper Kupp's been the best thing they've had really in the passing game. This is well designed. They're going to roll Goff out to his right, but Kupp's to the left side of the formation. He's going to start like he's going on the deep crosser. He comes back out to the sideline, and Ronald Darby is the only one there, and just by design, they're able to free Kupp up on the route.
See what Kupp has done. 5 catches, 118 yards, a touchdown. That last one good for 23. Sets up first and goal.
He's one of those receivers, doesn't have great speed, but he has outstanding quickness, showing it off.
Hand off to Brown. Malcolm Brown to the 1. Brought down by Nigel Bradham, and this is about as perfect a drive as the Rams could have put together. Coming out and Brown's going, come on.
Well, he's saying I don't get many of those opportunities. They give him a handful of carries a game, and when you got Todd Gurley as your lead guy, you're not going to give him any chances. And he's saying, I was so close.
Well, the priority is the touchdown for the Rams as it's 2nd and goal.
I don't know how many fantasy teams old Malcolm Brown's on, but he'd have helped him.
Gurley back in there. Throw by Goff. Pass is caught for the touchdown. Sammy Watkins. Boy, there was a lot of traffic in there, and somehow Goff found Watkins.
This is the route they were working on Friday in practice down here in the red zone when they saw one-on-one out here, but yet the Eagles actually play this pretty well. They're trying to drive the inside receiver up the field cup, and then that creates a natural picking action underneath for an easy throw to Watkins. That was some of the stuff the Eagles got hurt on last week against Seattle, and I know it did not make Jim Schwartz very happy. They actually play it well here, but just a perfectly thrown ball and a nice physical catch by Watkins.
Watkins, who was added during the preseason for a 2nd-round pick, and cornerback E.J. Gaines from Buffalo, now has 5 touchdown catches over his last 6 games. And this by Zuerlein to make it a 3-point game. What a drive put together by the LA Rams, and a touchdown throw from Goff to Watkins. McVay pumped up. Well, if they are forever linked going forward, the top 2 picks from the draft a year ago, there are their numbers as they go head-to-head for the first time. Wentz has been terrific. Jared Goff just threw a nice touchdown pass to Sammy Watkins in traffic after Todd Gurley helped get them in position, and now the kick by Zuerlein to the back of the end zone. Well, the more you see Carson Wentz, the more you really like him. And if you've watched any of the first half, you have to come out of the first half of football thinking this guy is the real deal and legit.
There's no question this guy has got a great amount of confidence in his ability to avoid the rush, extend plays, and then put the ball where he wants to put it. And as you can tell, even without Zach Ertz, those tight ends have been awfully productive. 5 catches, 60 yards, and then, of course, the 3 touchdowns, and that's been big to see for this Eagles offense. It's a great job by the Rams to open up the second half, come away with a touchdown. We'll see what the Eagles can do now.
Here's Aguilar. He gets hit immediately, brought down by Roby Coleman. And a loss of 1. Nickell Roby-Coleman. Remember, Kayvon Webster left in the first half with an ankle injury.
Well, that's the way you got to play those types of routes. You just have to be aggressive and go attack it. And if you can get there, you know, at the time the ball's being caught, it's your only real chance before you're able to get picked off and blocked. And we'll see if Wade Phillips wants to be more aggressive than he was in that first half.
They bring a blitz. Barron came on the blitz. Wentz in trouble and tripped up. Turned it into a positive play on 2nd and 11. Got 6, but he'll bring up 3rd down as Alec Ogletree made the tackle. This is the best 3rd quarter defense. I think that's the first time I've ever talked about the 3rd quarter defense, but they've allowed no 3rd quarter points the last 6 games and 1 3rd quarter touchdown all year. They know how to adjust at the half. 3rd down and 5. Blitz. Ogletree comes on the blitz. Wentz hangs in to the sideline, broken up. Trey Burton was the target, and out there defending was John Johnson, the rookie safety.
Well, it's great coverage by John Johnson, but Robert Quinn, he comes around the edge, and it looked like he might have been able to get the ball loose, and somehow Wentz is able to hang on to it. It did come loose, even in real time. It did not look like it did. Wentz hangs in there, but outstanding coverage on the back end of that to force a punt.
Wentz has big hands. They talked about that with him during the draft. This one's blocked. And for the touchdown. Rams take the lead. Count us with the touchdown. After the block by Thomas.
They overload the left side here, and as the protector, you got to make a decision who you're going to take, and he does not take the inside guy, the one with the shortest path to the punter. Instead, he blocks to the outside, and it leaves Thomas with an opportunity to go make the play. Clement was the one who was out there in protection. It's a big special teams play.
And it's a 4-point game. Who blocked it? Michael Thomas, who returned it for the touchdown. It was Blake Countess who got the score. Number 24, Rams up by 4. Well, it's 2 touchdowns in 94 seconds for the Rams, and they have the lead now, a 4-point advantage here with 10:07 left to go in the third quarter. You see what they've done. 2 blocked punts, returned for touchdowns. 6 returns for touchdowns for the Rams this season. It really is a good unit, coached by John Fossil. With a kicker, the punter, the return man, and then what they do, covering kicks, trying to block punts. Here's the block by Thomas.
Well, we'll take another look at it, and you got Corey Clement, number 30 here, and you got to decide, who's the most dangerous, and it's always the inside guy, and he allows Michael Thomas to be able to have a straight shot, and they should have had one blocked earlier by Corey Littleton that he didn't make the play on that one, but special teams was a real concern for Doug Peterson coming into this game because of the job that John Fossil does, and boy, they've been a factor in this game.
Handoff to Ajayi, who has averaged over 8 yards a carry in a short time with the Eagles, wrapped up after a gain of 1. When the Rams fired Jeff Fisher last year, they turned the team over to John Fossil. He is so well respected inside the building, as they say. The Rams love him. Sean McVay was smart enough to keep him as the special teams coordinator, and his group is humming right now.
Well, they sure are, and like I said earlier in the game, he was quick to point out when I asked him how much has Wade Phillips helped you in some of the things that you have to know and do as a head coach, and said he's been helpful, but John Fossil has been just as helpful in navigating some of those things.
2nd down and 9. The pass is caught by Jeffrey, out of bounds with a first down, and you see Tremaine Johnson, 22 in coverage for the Rams. Tremaine Johnson, 6'2", 213. Alshon Jeffrey, 6'3", 218, and they matched up all day.
That's a good matchup between these two guys, and right now, obviously coming out here in the second half, the way that the Rams offense went down the field and come away with a touchdown, the special teams play, and you start to feel a little of that energy right now from this defense too.
On first down now, Wentz comes underneath and throws high for Ajayi. Let's go to Carissa Thompson with a game break.
Thanks, Joe. You were joking about that third quarter defense. Seattle needs some third quarter defense right now. Blake Bortles connects with the undrafted rookie Keelan Cole for a 75-yard touchdown. Leonard Fournette would add another touchdown. The Jags leading this one 24-10. Joe?
Well, that's good news for the Rams and their fans. They're still in a battle for the NFC West. Seattle beat the Rams earlier this season. The Rams with a 1-game lead. Second and 10, Wentz. Ajayi, not much over the left side, forced out by Ogletree. He got a 4-year extension. Alec Ogletree as well, a first-round pick out of Georgia. And he was there defending for Wade Phillips.
Both these organizations, Joe, when you talk about getting guys locked up, and we've touched on a little bit some of the moves that the front office made in the offseason, surround these young quarterbacks with some talented guys, the draft choices by the Rams, certainly Cooper Kupp being one of those guys, and what an impact he's had today.
3rd down and 7. Pass is caught. Torrey Smith, who's had a big game here today. Well placed by Carson Wentz, 24-yard completion.
Yeah, he turns this ball loose with really great timing in order to fit it in there. It's Kevin Peterson who was in a position, but then he turns around, and as he turns around to try to locate the ball was going over the top of his head, but just nice touch by Carson Wentz.
94-yard day already for Torrey Smith. That's a season high. Play action. Wentz lets it go, and it's too high. Burt the target, and a flag is down back where Carson Wentz was under pressure.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to get it on Aaron Donald or not, but Aaron Donald got a hit on Wentz at the end of that play.
Offense, number 73. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Seumalo.
Yeah, Seumalo, he's called with the hold and clearly, and that's then Aaron Donald pushes him right back. He's able to get through that hold and a hit on Wentz, and that's the reason the ball sailed on him.
19 hits on Carson Wentz in this game. He's been sacked once. He's been hit 19 times, 36 dropbacks. You play the Rams defensively, especially with his front Aaron Donald. I think you remember it on the flight home.
Yeah, no question about that. Both these defensive fronts, they can get pressure on a quarterback without having to bring an extra defender. Four-man rush pressures are a real luxury for any coordinator.
So now first down and 20, and Wentz stays upright, spins down inside the 40. Broke out of a sack, wrestled to the ground by Bryce Hager after a gain of 5.
Rams trying to figure out exactly, what it takes to get to get him on the ground.
Well, Wade Phillips said he reminded Wade Big Ben Roethlisberger and how he was when he first came into the league, just so hard to get to the ground.
And Howie at halftime again reiterated that he reminds him of John Elway, and being compared to either one of those two guys, that's pretty good praise.
2nd and 15, Wentz fires, pass, caught, another one for Smith. Third down coming up. Brought down by Kevin Peterson, a gain of 6. Who will rule the Hoosier State? A showdown for basketball supremacy. The Crossroads Classic tips off Saturday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern as Purdue battles Butler, followed by Notre Dame and Indiana. Catch the action on Fox or stream it live on Fox Sports Go. 3rd down and 9.
Yeah, and like I said, this has been a good down for the Eagles. They're converting 50%. They're 45% on the year. They're second in the NFL, and they've been even better than that here this afternoon.
Just a 4-man rush. Wentz lets it go. Jeffrey can't hang on. Jeffrey and Johnson down the field. The pass was there, and Johnson may have gotten a hand in there, and now a flag for what happened way after the play. It's going to be unsportsmanlike conduct on one side.
If that's on the Los Angeles Rams, you got to be kidding me. Tremaine Johnson, does a good job of getting his hand in there and making a play on the ball, and there could be some taunting that took place, and maybe that's where the flag is.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, defense, number 22. That's a 15-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
This is a huge call against Tremaine Johnson as it brings about a first down.
You don't know what was said, or there's something obviously said there, and Alshon Jeffrey then kind of walks away from it, but these players at some point are going to learn. That's really not smart. It hurts your entire football team. You make a key stop on 3rd down on a well-played ball, only to give up 15 yards and a new set of downs.
Tremaine Johnson also has a 41-yard pass interference called against him in this game. Big opportunity for Philly, down by 4. Pass to Aguilar. And And the catch is made, good for 5. Aguilar was on the bust list as the 20th overall pick 3 years ago until this year, and he's really put together a fine season, as it looks like. He made a clean catch going to the ground.
He had some drops early in his career. A lot was expected of him when you're a first-round pick, and then mentally he just couldn't get out of his own way, and he's finally been able to relax and just go play like the guy they saw come out of Southern Cal.
On 2nd and 5, Blunt lost his footing, and it's a gain of about 2. Ogletree on the tackle, so another 3rd down coming up.
The Rams, they're trying to get that ball loose from LeGarrette Blunt as he's getting held up, and of course they got that takeaway to start this game that led to their first touchdown, and I'd sure like to get another one now.
3rd down and 3. To Aguilar. Aguilar's got the first down to the 5. And a flag at the end of that play. Ebukam was in there on the stop. And we'll see if the flag is against him. And that's why they threw the flag.
Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness. Defense number 50. That penalty is half the distance to the goal. First down.
I don't even know what to say about that. I don't know what these guys are watching. I mean, what's Ebukam looking at to come in and think that the guy wasn't already on the ground?
As it turns out, it brings the ball inside the 3. A couple of calls against Sean McVay's defense for plays after the whistle. To his right, flag is down, and Wentz in for the touchdown, but a flag thrown. And we'll see if it's coming back.
Holding. Offense, number 65. It's a 10-yard penalty. Still first down.
Boy, Carson Wentz got hit hard at the end of that play. And it's a hold against Philadelphia to bring it back.
It's on Lane Johnson out there at right tackle, and trying to get the ball to Nelson Aguilar. Once again, there's the hit, and I think for the most part he does a pretty good job of protecting himself, but when you start getting hit down low like that, you're always concerned. They try to come out here to the flat to Aguilar. The Rams passed it off, which was really smart way to play it. Troy Hill comes off of it, and that's why Carson Wentz had to run, but they get the hold on Johnson.
Clement down near the 3, maybe the 2. Good block by Jason Kelce in front of Corey Clement. And they're going to mark him down at the 3, 2nd and goal.
Well, that's a nice job when you're able to just come back and hand the ball off and then just get it right back inside the 5-yard line.
Clement didn't get anything. Mark Barron came through to make the tackle. Now 3rd and goal. Third down and goal. Without Zach Ertz, you saw on the sideline, they've thrown 3 touchdown passes, 2 to tight end Burton, 1 to Selleck. Wentz protected pass, incomplete. Jeffrey the target. And the Rams defense keep Philadelphia out of the end zone.
Yeah, they're able to make a stop after all, even after the penalties.
It's 4th and goal, and
Yeah.
it looks like Doug Peterson's going to go.
Sure is. Like we said earlier, he has gone forward an awful lot. I don't know. I think I would take the 3 points.
4th and goal. Wentz, time runs out. Passes to Jeffrey for the touchdown. What a catch right off the top of the grass. And a new franchise record for Philadelphia as Carson Wentz has his 33rd touchdown of the season.
It's one heck of a catch. He caught both ends of the football. It was behind him. And how that even got there was pretty amazing. The time in the pocket for Wentz, a lot of protection, allowed him just to hang in there. And you're going to take a look at it and see where this ball was thrown. And for him to be able to come back and make a play, like I said, he caught both ends of it. It's a great job.
The penalties after plays hurting the Rams defensively, and then Carson Wentz with the Eagle fans chanting MVP, able to find Jeffrey, and it's Philly back on top by 3. Why are we showing you the tent on the sideline? They're looking at Carson Wentz in there. He got hit hard by Mark Barron when he ran for what was a touchdown for a moment, called back on a hold. So they're checking him out. Nick Foles was just getting loose. There's the scoring drive, 15 plays. And a terrible call, as it turned out, on the part of the officiating crew against Tremaine Johnson. Bad play by Johnson. Here's the hit on Wentz. Eagles lead by 3, but they're checking out their franchise quarterback over on the sideline. Well, nobody wants to see this. Carson Wentz is going off to get looked at in the locker room. We'll show you the hit again. You'll get a better idea of what he went through. He's a big-bodied quarterback, a big target, and he got hit hard. Mark Barron was in there for the Rams. Philly leading by 3 with 2:20 left, third quarter. Goff hands to Gurley. And Gurley with another big run out across the 45. 21 yards. First, we'll show you what happened to Wentz, and watch his legs and his body just fold on that hit by Barron. And then he stayed in there long enough to throw the touchdown to Alshon Jeffrey for the lead. Play action to Gurley, and Goff throws. Pass caught inside the 40 and knocked out of bounds is Josh Reynolds. Reynolds getting a chance to play more with the injury to Robert Woods, out for another week with a bad shoulder, but expected to come back in the Rams' next game at Seattle, and Wentz is going up the tunnel.
Yeah, it's hard to speculate on what that might be and whether it's a lower extremity injury or what. The fact he's walking, some might think that's a good sign. I'm not so sure. It's just hard to tell. I think there's certainly cause for concern when he was in the tent, and then he's now going into the locker room for further evaluation.
Fake toss. They set it out for Watkins on the near side. Gets a block from Big Whitworth out on the edge. McLeod on the tackle, a catch and run of 15 yards by Sammy Watkins.
Well, Andrew Whitworth, the left tackle, who we saw, he had the injury and now he's back in the lineup, and he shows some of his athleticism for such a big guy. He gets out there and helps lead the way with a block.
Well, he just got down the field in a blink.
They're a big play offense.
Square! Hey, yo, tough. Turbo's up.
Goff out to his right. Pass is caught along the sideline by Michael Thomas, who had the punt block a little while ago.
You watch this offense, and when you study them on film and the way in which they run their routes and the way the receivers come off the ball, It's the way I was taught offensive football with Norv Turner and Ernie Zampese, and you don't see a lot of it. But Sean McVay, going back to his time with the Redskins, and then now here with the Rams, these guys pressure a defense with speed coming off the line of scrimmage, and they create a lot of big plays as a result.
That's the end of the third quarter. What a game. 31-28, Philadelphia on top. Rams driving. Back after this from your local Fox station. Just so you know, as we look at the offensive leaders for the Rams, we have no information yet on the status of Carson Wentz. Obviously, we'll pass that along immediately. Kupp with a 100-yard day. Gurley effective on the ground. 2nd down and 4 for the Rams, down by 3. First play of the 4th, and it's Gurley trying to bounce it. Flags all over the place, and Gurley with, for the moment, a 1st down carry. Here's the call.
Illegal hands to the face. Defense number 93. It's a 5-yard penalty added to the end of the play. Automatic 1st down.
They get Tim Jernigan for hands to the face.
You see it right there in the right-hand corner, and pretty easy. The helmet almost comes all the way off, and if nothing else, this is, obviously a great drive for the Rams to get back down here and come away with some points and trying to get a touchdown, but the defense to get some rest. They've been on the field an awful lot. A big disparity between the Eagles' plays offensively and what the Rams have been able to run.
Now 1st and goal from the 9. Gurley tries the edge. Gurley, touchdown.
Take a look and make sure he's in, and yep, that's a great job by Gurley, because he was just able to outrun the defender to the pylon.
That left knee goes down. The question is obviously, where's the ball when the left knee hits? It is close, to say the least. Just has to break the front edge of that goal line before the knee hits the turf. Well, that just shows you the ability of Todd Gurley to get to the edge. And he can get you so many different ways. Here's another look. Watch, the left knee is down now, and he's across the goal line. I don't see anything that would pull it back.
Yeah, I don't believe there's enough there, and I think
you just don't know where he is. This angle, you have no idea where he is at that moment. And he's down there, but where is he on the goal line?
Yeah, it would appear, at least what I'm looking at, it would seem he's a bit short, but
The previous play is under review.
Well, we haven't had a definitive look at it to tell you that that's not a touchdown. Mike Pereira is viewing from his spot in Century City back at the network. What'd you see, Mike?
Well, I know it's hard because the down the line shot is kind of, you can't tell positively if that left knee hits, but when you see the shot from the end zone, that really confirms that the knee is down. And so while I think they've been doing a pretty good job of staying with what was called on the field, I think if it's me, I actually reverse this and put him down short of the goal line.
Yeah, I guess it's easy to do after you hear Mike Pereira talk, but I'm starting to change my mind too. It looks like he's just short of the front edge of that goal line.
I didn't know I had that much influence over you, Joe.
There are times when you have no idea the power you have over all of us at the network.
So then after I convince you, then we'll both be wrong. And so
that's the way this works.
Well, they'll piece it together and see what they come up with. I think right there, and then when you go back and you see that other angle, I do think Mike's right in saying that he's short, and I think it will be brought back. And it does show you, however, like you talked about, Joe, some of the abilities that Todd Gurley has. He's faster than what a lot of people realize, and he's certainly good between the tackles and all of that, but he's also very good on the perimeter and out in space.
And now catching the ball. I mean, he's putting together huge numbers through the air. A lot of that on screens. Their screen game is terrific.
Yeah, he's got a career high already with 48 receptions coming into this game, and they like getting the ball in his hands any way possible.
Here's a call.
After review, the runner was down by contact with the ball just inside the 1 yard line. It'll be 2nd down and goal at that spot.
So take the points off the board, send Todd Gurley back in, and just short of the goal line, Sean McVay will have to come up with another play. So they overturn the call on the field. The ball is almost entirely inside the 1. And it's 2nd and goal. Jim Schwartz, the defensive coordinator, former head coach with the Lions, calling out his defensive play.
You don't see Jim Schwartz bring a lot of blitzes, but down in this area, certainly he does, and it'll be a decision for Sean McVay whether or not he just, from the 1 yard line, I'd say just give it right back to Gurley and let him do his thing. And we'll see. We've seen Goff throw it down into here tight.
Gurley again, cuts back, touchdown. And the 4th lead change of the game as the Rams are back on top.
Good job by this offensive front and the push that they're then going to get. And Gurley shows some patience. Could have gotten in without any contact, but great job of finishing off that drive and coming away with a touchdown.
How about the numbers for Gurley today? 2 touchdowns, 13 total touchdowns for the season. That leads the league. 10th career 100-yard rushing game. And he's over 1,000 rush yards for the season. But the big story now going forward for Philadelphia is about Carson Wentz and his condition. We'll have that report from Aaron when we come back. It's a 4-point game. Rams on top. Nick Foles is getting set to go, and we'll give you the report on Carson Wentz after the kick. Aaron, what do you know?
Well, Joe, as you can see, when Carson Wentz was trying to run into the sideline, his legs were tangled up underneath him. He then went over here to the blue team, followed them back into the locker room. Eagles are reporting it is a left knee injury. He is done for today. We do not know the severity of the knee injury, but I can tell you, as I was standing back by that Eagles locker room, all the support staff that was back there with Carson Wentz all walked out just shaking their heads, Joe.
One of the bright stars of the league, and hopefully he'll be able to bounce back. Right now, this game belongs to Nick Foles. Second tour with the Eagles. Starts with a snap that ends up on the ground, and Foles has to lunge forward. And a nice pickup on a broken play. Didn't secure the snap, picked it up and got 9. Foles had the big year, Troy, back in 2013, 27 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He is 20-16 as a starter, 15-9 during his time with Philadelphia. 2nd and 1.
Yeah, he's a guy who has had some playing time in this league, but a guy who probably has not gotten much work. See who this is called on, but a guy who has not gotten much work with the #1 offense probably for much, if not all, of this year. The backup normally doesn't get any reps.
Offside, defense, number 93. That 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
So first down here for Philadelphia by penalty on Ethan Westbrooks as he came across too early.
Nick Foles, a one-time Pro Bowler, and certainly, as you said, back in 2013, the year that he's had some success. And sometimes coming off the bench, you don't even have time to really think much about what's happening. You just go out and play, and see a lot of guys play very well. And they're going to need him to play well here over the next 12 and a half minutes.
Play action. Foles fires behind Jeffrey, but he's got it. Catch is made, and they're going to give forward progress for a first down. A lot of hits for Carson Wentz. And that finally caught up to the Eagles. Wentz came in as a guy who had been sacked 28 times. And here's the hit. By the way, preceded the play where he hung in there and got the touchdown on fourth down to Alshon Jeffrey. But that hit by Mark Barron on a play that didn't even count is what ended his day. Foles trying to be a hero. Pass is broken up. Torrey Smith was the target, and their defending was Nickel Roby-Coleman.
Well, Joe, that's always the concern for these quarterbacks, and there's a lot of them in the league. It didn't used to be that way, and we're seeing more and more of these guys who can run, and it becoming a part of the offense, and there's always that risk, and it's a part of it. And like you said, Wentz certainly, the things that he does with his feet, making plays and extending plays and all the things that he's done here today, and we've talked about it. Every time you get hit, you give yourself a chance to go down, and that's a big one to find out what the severity of it is.
Second down and 10. Foles keeps, throws, pass caught, 35-yard line. That's Burton. And a flag at the end of the play. Another after the whistle flag. Jermaine Johnson is down, can't get up.
Well, I think Nick Foles does a really good job of hanging in the pocket and delivers a good throw. He gets hit by Aaron Donald at the very end of this play and goes to the ground, but to be able to put the ball on Burton, knowing he's going to be in tight coverage, it's a good job.
We have yet to get the call on the flag. They look at Jermaine Johnson. Well, they're going to look at Jermaine Johnson in the tent. While we were away, as they looked at him on the field, they picked up the flag. According to Mike Pereira, it's a good pickup of a flag. Launching only a foul if you make contact with the head or neck area. So there's no foul call. The completion stands to Burton. The problem for the Rams is they lose Jermaine Johnson for at least the moment, and they are getting thin in that secondary.
Yes, they are.
They're without Johnson and Webster. Play action from Foles, and he throws incomplete.
Well, the key now for the Rams, if you're without your top two corners and pretty thin back there, the matchups obviously start favoring the Philadelphia Eagles, and then can you get back to Foles and rough him up? And in the last play, they were.
Well, they bring Foles in the game, and the Eagles now have called 5 straight passes, so they're showing they're not scared to put in the air even with their backup in the ballgame. A handoff to Ajayi, and he's got 10. Good run as Jay Ajayi has got another Philadelphia first down.
He takes a boot camp number 50 for a ride. You're going to see boot camp comes in and jumps on him, and he just keeps on turning his legs, and some good tough running there by Jay Ajayi.
And a first down at the 25. Foles in that magical 2013 season, at least individually for Philly, had a 119.2 quarterback rating. That's the 3rd highest for a season all time. Now in relief of Carson Wentz, out with a knee injury to the end zone. And out of the back of it in the direction of Alshon Jeffrey, with Troy Hill now in coverage.
Yeah, you can see Alshon Jeffrey. He had position too. He had the inside, and Foles just doesn't give him an opportunity at all. It's one-on-one, and Troy Hill is cluing into the quarterback, but if you give Alshon anything, that's where he's good. He's so good at going up and making those tough contested catches, but you got to give him a chance. I know in visiting with Carson Wentz, he says that he had to learn Alshon Jeffrey, even when he's covered, he's really not, because he's so good at making plays on the ball like that.
2nd and 10. Foles keeps pass incomplete. Foles got hit again. It'll be 3rd down and 10.
Well, Aaron Donald, he gets right past Seumalo and the left guard. There goes Aaron Donald right to the inside. And I'll say that's going to be what neutralizes some of the thin ranks in that secondary.
Webster left with an ankle injury. He's out. Tremaine Johnson had to exit during this possession by the Eagles, their big corner for the Rams. Now 3rd and 10. Foles comes underneath, pass is caught. Ajayi is dumped by Nickell Robey-Coleman. And it's 4th down.
Well, I think Foles had an opportunity. He's got a shallow crosser, and this is what you miss. Nelson Aguilar is going to come across, and when you just haven't had the reps, these are some of the things that you miss within your progression. He gets the ball to him quickly. He picks up that 1st down easily.
41-yard try now by Jake Elliott. About this game, it's a 1-point affair. Rams 35, Eagles 34, under 10 to go here in LA. It was a 10-play drive engineered by Nick Foles. A lot of throws, not much on the ground. When they went to the ground, they had some success, and Elliott will kick it away after hitting from 41 yards to make it a 1-point game. Just joining us, Carson Wentz left with a knee injury. We don't know the severity of it. It's to his left knee, and we'll get into any more detail. We'll pass it on. Here's Pharoh Cooper on the return. Well played and well covered. Out to the 20, that's it. Corey Graham on the stop. It's a 21-yard return.
Rams do such a good job in their return game, and situation right now and under 10 minutes to go, and you've cut the game to 1, and to be able to make a good stop there on coverage teams, that's a great job by the Eagles.
Philadelphia turns to this good defense, looking for a stop. Gurley bottled up, and he lost a yard. Both teams, as you see at that line at the bottom of your screen, 7-0 when scoring 30 or more points this season. One of these two is going to suffer a loss. What a game. So important for playoff seeding. Gurley up at the top of the screen on 2nd and 11. Goff stays upright, finds Gurley, and a hurdle. What a play. I don't know how Goff stayed up, and then Gurley went up and over a tackler.
Well, initially when he spins out, I think he's going to take off and keep on running out to his left, and then Bo Allen is right there up the field. He has to pull up and then find Gurley, and Gurley showing some of his skills, but that's really great work. We got another man down.
It's Havenstein, the right tackle, number 79, out there on the edge with Graham working on him, and Havenstein gets rolled up on. So they look at the leg of Rob Havenstein. Let's go to Carissa Thompson with a game brief.
Thanks, Joe. Seahawks down 27-10 in the 4th quarter. Russell Wilson connects with Paul Richardson, who makes one cut here to Tyler Lockett, and goes the distance. The Jaguars right now still leading 30-24. Joe?
All right, Carissa, he's the best in the fourth quarter this year, Russell Wilson. It's 3rd down and 2 after Gurley went over the top of Malcolm Jenkins. Havenstein able to get up, and with the assistance of Dr. Neil Elatrash and others, off the field goes the right tackle. And now there are no more substitutions left on the offensive line for LA. They're going to have to bring Austin Blythe in. And instead now they've got Whitworth back out at left tackle. He's been back. That puts Darrell Williams at right. So they do have Blythe still on the sideline before a big 3rd down and 2. Goff throws, pass, broken up, but a flag.
Yeah, that
was... Cooper was the target, and Jalen Mills was on his back.
Yeah, Jalen Mills got him right off the line of scrimmage. As you're going to see Cooper.
Pass interference, defense, number 27. The ball is placed at the spot of the foul, automatic, 1st down.
It's one of those times that Jim Schwartz decided to bring an extra guy and play tough coverage up top, and Jalen Mills gets called with the penalty.
Well, you heard Craig Rolstad say 27. That's Malcolm Jenkins, but it certainly looked like the call was on the coverage of Jalen Mills. I just think they got the number wrong. And then evidently he corrected it, turning the mic back on to say it was against Mills. 180. On 1st down, play action. Goff, ball's out. Picked up by the Eagles, and McLeod takes it to the 25. Chris Long knocked it out, and McLeod was there for the eventual recovery.
Well, the Rams are trying to take a shot down the field. There's not much there, but Chris Long is going to come around the edge, and then Jared Goff just has to know that you just can't hold the ball that long against this defense. And if you are, you got to be mindful of who's coming in behind. And Chris Long comes in with a great play of stripping Goff as he lays out. It's excellent work. They needed a takeaway and come up with a big play, and Chris Long, their free agent acquisition, he gets it done.
That's his 3rd forced fumble. Certainly the biggest play of this second half, and it belongs to Chris Long. 5th time Goff has fumbled this season, and the Eagles are already in field goal range as they trail by 1 from the 25. Handoff to Ajayi. Johnson on the stop, a gain of 2.
Take another look, and they've got a deep post, and then they had an intermediate route, and the Eagles play it well on the back end. There's a post coming through the middle here with Sammy Watkins. It looked like it was Kupp who was working the middle of the field, and as he steps up and the pressure's coming and holding the ball, but that's a great job by Chris Long laying out and get Jared Goff.
Number 2 overall pick by the St. Louis Rams, Chris Long, back in 08. Now with 62.5 career sacks and a huge forced fumble. 2nd and 8, pass to the sideline. Jeffrey with a grab and the catch for a 1st down.
And another flag. Back at the 30.
Holding, offense, number 79. That's a 10-yard penalty, replay. 2nd down.
That's against Brooks.
That's Brandon Brooks at right guard. Got his right arm up around Aaron Donald.
Aaron Donald forces a lot of that. The Eagles' offensive line has been guilty of 3 holds and 2 false starts. It wipes away the 1st down catch by Jeffrey. On second down now, Foles steps into it. Pass is caught just inside the 30 by Blunt. And third down coming up.
They're going to try to run a double move out here to Alshon Jeffrey, and they didn't bite. So Troy Hill played it perfectly, and he's even getting a little more help, but a little bit of a shoulder move there by Nick Foles, and realize he doesn't have it, just unloads it.
The Eagles are still inside field goal range. Be a 47-yard try from here. Can't take a sack. 3rd and 14.
Alshon Jeffrey down here at the bottom.
Foles. Ball is out, but it went to an offensive lineman. Flag is thrown. This should be an illegal touch. Here's the call immediately from Craig Rolstead. Big pressure by Michael Brockers, and Foles just got rid of it. And it looked like Rolstead, the referee, was going to make the call immediately, but he wants to talk it over.
As this quarterback, and you get pressure and you see color, and you're desperate to get the ball out. You just see somebody in your jersey and you throw it out there to them. They tried to run.
The quarterback was ruled under Graskin's control, therefore he's down here at the 41-yard line. There's no illegal touching because the quarterback is ruled under Graskin's control. 4th down.
Brockers and Robert Quinn that get to him. They tried running the double move like they had run on the previous down. They tried running it the opposite side of the field to Alshon Jeffrey, and Troy Hill once again plays it well.
Well, that makes a field goal try that much more difficult. Right now, a 54-yard try by Jake Elliott for the lead. A loss of 7 on that big sack. Bobbled snap, the kick, a flag is down, the kick is good, but a flag is thrown on the play. Bobble on the snap by Donnie Jones, the holder, but he got it up. And then Jake Elliott got it up and through. Here's a call.
Personal foul. Defense, number 50, leverage. That's a 15-yard penalty, an automatic first down.
Ebukam with leverage on the field goal try. And it's 15 yards and a huge Philadelphia first down.
No doubt. You keep this drive alive with an automatic first down, and
it was Ebukam coming off the right side, 50.
he's right in the middle, and I didn't think they got the wrong guy. I don't think that was Ebukam that, well, I could tell. Let's take a look at it and see. He's just right here in the middle. You know, there's Aaron Donald, 99. He's on the.
Well, just remember this and file this away. Yes, it's an automatic first down, but they do take the points off the board. Field goal was good. Low snap. Handoff to Ajayi, who takes it down inside the 20. Mike Pereira is nearby in Century City. What'd you see, Mike?
Well, I'll tell you what, I didn't see much of anything, to tell you the truth. Assuming it's 99 that he must have called, you know, Donald going over the top, but there's no leverage there. He's just really just kind of jumping over his back. You know, to me, in this situation, just nothing that I see that merits a call at all.
Yeah, I agree, Mike. I didn't see much there, and what a costly penalty that is. And yeah, I would take the points off the board too. You get a chance to come away with a touchdown. And
here's a handoff to Ajayi. I'm just obviously, yeah, you take the first down, but just file it away because there's nothing that's a given in this league, and you got the ball through the uprights for the lead. And Now if you don't get a first down, you don't get the touchdown, you're dragging Elliott back out there hoping that he makes the kick again.
Yeah. Well, that's a tough one. That's a tough one on these Rams, and I'm with Mike. It certainly was not a boot camp that he didn't do anything, and I didn't see really much from anyone else.
Backup quarterback Nick Foles in there on a big 3rd and 4. Foles throws, passes, caught, and what a tackle out on the edge. Aguilar made the catch, and Nikel Roby-Coleman, who's been a tackling machine in this second half, throws him to the ground, and now they bring Elliott back on for another try.
So here we go, and you're right, he's done a nice job, and really this defense has tightened up a little bit. It certainly helps now with the starting quarterback not in the game, but a much better performance by this Rams defense from what we saw in the first half.
33-yard try. This is equivalent to an extra point attempt from distance, and he got it again. That possession, and eventually the 3 points, courtesy of Chris Long and this play he made on Goff.
And then this is figure out exactly what that was. That obviously it didn't end up hurting them other than losing a little bit of time off the clock. They still make the stop. Elliott comes out, he makes the field goal. But we'll see now what Jared Goff is able to do. We came into this game, 2 high-powered offenses, averaging 30 points a game, and a couple good defenses too, and who was going to prevail? And obviously both of them doing a great job moving the football and scoring points.
So now it's up to Goff, the #1 overall pick last year. Carson Wentz has been knocked out of this game with a knee injury. Nick Foles has been good enough to help his Eagles now lead by 2. And Goff, who the Rams gave up 6 picks, including 2 first-rounders to grab, will have the game in his lap. Let's see where the drive will start. The 25. It's the singing competition that starts with the 4 best singers. The 4 battle for stardom. The judges: Sean Diddy Combs, DJ Khaled, Meghan Trainor, Charlie Walk. Hosted by Fergie, the vocal combat begins Thursday, January 4th, right here on Fox.
Well, the great thing for Jared Goff is that he has all the time in the world. 3 minutes and 45 seconds. He's got 3 timeouts, down 2 points. That he can be patient and not feel that he has to force anything. But what he does have to know, unlike the last time he dropped back, this defensive front can get after you, and you just can't hold the ball once that clock runs out.
They start with Gurley right side. Well played by Philadelphia. Great penetration. Bradham was in there, and he wasn't alone. A loss of 3.
Good job of this defense. They get pressure in the backfield. You see Bradham, he's there. Cox, he's pushing the pocket. They string it out, then they lose 3 yards.
Rob Havenstein, the right tackle, is back out there for the Rams. So they're back to their starting 2 tackles. 2nd and 13. Goff gets away from the pressure, gets back to the original line of scrimmage as Fletcher Cox was there defending for Philadelphia. 3rd down and 10 coming up.
And they kind of had what they wanted, Joe, and Goff was about to turn it loose, and the receiver coming out of the break, he just loses his footing just enough, and it threw Goff off, and he was afraid to turn it loose.
Under 2.5 to go. Just got it away. 3rd down and 10. Goff fires, pass, incomplete. Watkins the target. Jalen Mills was there for Philadelphia, and the punt team will come out. The Rams, with all 3 of their timeouts remaining and the 2-minute warning, can't afford to punt it here.
Yeah, it's pretty disappointing, though, for them offensively to go 3 and out. And that was outstanding coverage. They played zone coverage behind that. Jim Schwartz did, and there was really not much of a chance of anything for Goff to get it down there for the first down.
Becker hits it. Drives Barner back inside the 20. Lost his footing. And out to the 21. That's it. Blake Countess down there for the Rams. And important for LA, if you think about it in these terms. That play ended with 2:02 left in the game. Why is that important? Well, instead of it ending with 2 minutes or inside 2 minutes, this first down play by the Eagles will happen prior to the 2-minute warning.
Yeah, they'll get to preserve a timeout. And to this defense now, whether or not they can force a stop. I think Wade Phillips, he'll start bringing more pressure on this possession and see if he can't rattle old Nick Foles.
Philadelphia wins this game, they win the NFC East. They have loftier ambitions than that. Franchise that hasn't won a playoff game since the 08 season, leading by 2. Needing first downs. They hand off. Ajayi, short gain on first down, and we're at the 2-minute warning. With 1:57 remaining, Rams with 3 timeouts. Philly with a football and a 2-point lead. It has cooled off in Southern California. What a game. The top-scoring offenses going at one another. Rare is it that a game like this lives up to the hype, but we've had 5 lead changes, 4 in this half. The Eagles have lost their starter, Carson Wentz.
Yeah, big second down here to keep him from picking up this first down and seeing if they put the ball in Foles' hands.
Welcome in a new audience. Second down and 7 for Philadelphia. Low snap, handoff to Ajayi, and he's wrapped up. He stays in bounds, and Los Angeles has to use their first timeout. Mark Barron made that tackle. A recap, it was a lot of Carson Wentz early. Had a big first half. Jared Goff, as these top 2 picks from last year's draft, squared off. A block punt that went for a touchdown to Blake Countess. And then on this play, Carson Wentz was hit hard by Mark Barron. Had the lead. Chris Long just forced a fumble on that play that led to the go-ahead field goal by Jake Elliott. As the Rams are left with 2 timeouts, a big third down coming, and that top line of the graphic is certainly one of the most important lines of this day for Philadelphia, for the playoff picture in the NFC. How bad is the knee injury suffered by Carson Wentz? Right now it's Nick Foles, 3rd and 8. Foles protected, pass is caught by Aguilar. No bigger catch by Aguilar than that for a huge first down.
That's really a great catch. It's a great throw by Nick Foles. He lays it out in front of Aguilar, and Aguilar has to then stretch out and make a play on this ball. And I tell you, you said it, what a time for Aguilar to be able to create a little bit of separation and then make this play. After all the criticisms that he's had over his first few years in the league, for him to do what he's done this year and then make that play, that's huge.
Coming off his biggest game as a Philadelphia Eagle at Seattle, 7 catches, 141 yards, his first 100-yard game. No bigger single catch than that. As the Eagles now see the Rams with 1 timeout remaining, and it's a first down for Philadelphia. That was just a perfectly thrown ball and a great catch.
It was. Nick Foles put that ball really the only place that he could to give his guy a chance, just hoping that Aguilar would be able to extend and make the play, and he did.
Handoff here to Ajayi. Wrapped up by Aaron Donald, and the Rams will use their final timeout. Next Sunday, most of the country will see the Packers try and keep their playoff hopes alive. They take on Cam Newton and the Packers, and maybe, just maybe, Aaron Rodgers will be back, or the Rams and the Seahawks later in the day in an NFC West showdown. Check local listings for the game in your area.
Yeah,
Big win by Green Bay today in Cleveland.
Yeah, it sure was, and big win by Carolina. Of course, against Minnesota.
Coming out of here, if the Eagles win, they'll go to 11-2. They'll be the #1 seed. Minnesota right behind them. They lost today. They have a record of 10-3. The Eagles are at the Giants next Sunday, then at home against the Raiders and at home against Dallas to end their year. Hand off to Ajayi. Wrestled to the ground. No timeouts left for Los Angeles. Barron made that stop. Meanwhile, for Sean McVay and the Rams, they came in at 9-3. They're at the Seahawks. A huge game next Sunday. At the Titans, they'll have their hands full. And then at home against the 49ers. And it's always a battle when the Rams and 49ers get together.
Yeah, you said it, boy. That game next week against Seattle, that's going to be another big one for them. Bouncing back after this one. Well, we'll see what happens here, but I'll tell you, waiting to see exactly what the injury is to Carson Wentz and how that tilts the balance of power within the NFC.
Yeah, that's well said. And you think about Seattle, a team that lost at Jacksonville today, so they go to 8-5, and maybe some teams that are quote unquote in the hunt, as we like to say in television talk, have a little bit more hope at the end of the day. But you're right. I mean, Philadelphia on their way to an 11-2 start under Doug Peterson, but right now without one of the best weapons in the NFL and a guy who is very high up, deservedly so, in the MVP race.
Well, I'll say this. I mean, Nick Foles is not Carson Wentz, but at least the Eagles have a backup that has won games in this league. And like I said, he's a Pro Bowl player.
Ajayi looked like he might have almost lost the handle. Cannot get the first down, but the clock will continue to wind. This would have been devastating if Ajayi couldn't come up with this handoff. Oh, how close were the Eagles to a killer turnover leading by 2?
Yeah, and that's what you talk about in these situations as the quarterback. Just make sure you get the exchange, get what you can as the runner, stay in bounds and protect the football. He didn't give Foles a pocket at all.
Well, the Eagles can spend a timeout. It'll be 4th down. And there will be 7 seconds left in the ball game. We've seen the Rams come up with a near block, a block punt for a touchdown. They're good in the return game. If you're the Eagles and you're punter Donnie Jones, you got to get it, get rid of it, drive it out of bounds. There's just no two ways around it.
Yeah, just get it off. And rest assured, the Rams are coming, and that's the only thing Donnie Jones has got to be focused on, just getting this thing off his foot.
Pharoh Cooper back. He's a good returner. High snap, a little wide, and Jones is there to corral it, drives it, and with 1 second left, a fair catch by Pharoh Cooper. That was almost a wild snap as well. And there will be one more play from under center for Jared Goff, barring a defensive foul.
We'll see what Sean McVay has in his bag of tricks for this situation.
Only 3 men up front for Philadelphia. And Doug Peterson's going to use his final timeout. This thing is on empty. It's a 2-point game. Each side out of their timeouts. There's 1 second left. 2-point game, and the Eagles are knocking on the door of an 11-2 start and a nice bounce back after that loss at Seattle last Sunday night.
Sure did. I mean, this obviously coming into this game, what's at stake and the implications within the playoff seeding and where they're going to be playing come January. And there's enough here for both these teams to correct as they move into next week. But barring some miracle right here, this would be a great win for this Philadelphia organization.
And let's say this about the game coming up next week for the Rams. Unless something crazy happens here, they'll go into that game with a 1-game lead on Seattle. But if they don't win that game, they lose the head-to-head. They would have been swept by the Seahawks. So that's a huge game coming up. It's lateral time. Austin. And it's taken by Philly and Brandon Graham for the touchdown. Eagles win it. And they go to 11-2. The announcement was made by Craig Rolstad that they will, as we should all know by now, kick the extra point. Nick Foles, well done. And if he made one throw that made a difference in this game, it was that third down throw to Nelson Aguilar. That was not easy, and he dropped in a beauty for a big first down.
Yeah, pressure situation, a guy come off the bench in a big game like this, and what's at stake, and to throw a perfect ball. It's an outstanding job. Here's another look at it here. You're going to see the ball placement and where he puts it when he turns it loose. He leads them perfectly, and then Aguilar, of course, makes the nice grab on that. But that was the one that sealed it. It's great execution. They go win with Nick Foles.
Yeah, it is, and they're going to send Nick Foles back out there. They have to snap it again by rule. Chris Long with a huge forced fumble. Foles will take a knee. And we're partial at this network to the Long family for good reason, but when you consider Chris Long donated his first 6 game checks to a pair of 7-year scholarships to middle school students back in Charlottesville, Virginia, and then his next 10 to charity. Special guy. Big win for the Eagles. We'll come back and wrap up this day after this.